Put down those birding binoculars or that potting clay or model airplane glue, especially the airplane glue, and listen to a fella who really needs to get a hobby. That's next on Brio TV, the podcast. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Bill Brio. And for the next half hour, I'm going to be checking in with one of the Renaissance men of comedy on television. You know him from his work crushing heads, among other things, with Dave Foley, Kevin McDonald, Bruce McCullough, and Scott Thompson on Kids in the Hall. He was also a writer and performer on Saturday Night Live, was the co-creator, writer, and actor on the great Canadian comedy Slings Arrows, and starred for 6 seasons on NBC's Superstore. You can catch his latest series, Mark McKinney Needs a Hobby, airing Wednesday nights on CTV and also streaming and available on demand on Crave. Please welcome back to the podcast, Mark McKinney. I'm well. How are you doing?
Fuck me. Look at that beard, man.
Well, you too, huh?
Well, yeah, but I mean, you're seasonal. You're ready. You were ready for fall. You were primed for Christmas.
I actually got stopped in a mall last year by a guy who said, "Hey, you look like Santa Claus." And then he gave me his card. He was a recruiter for mall Santa Clauses. And I thought about it, Mark. It was $35 an hour cash. So
I would, listen, forget the money.
I know, right?
Be Santa Claus? That'd be kind of magical. That'd be like doing children's theater.
I honestly might call him back this year. It's something I've thought about. It would be kind of fun. But he was like, "Do you have a criminal record?" Like he was giving me the whole rundown. So it was fun to think about. Listen, congrats on Mark.
That's
McKinney.
my name along.
I will. Okay. Yeah. You're going to have to lay off the razor completely for a few months for sure. Yeah. I watched the first episode of Mark McKinney Needs a Hobby and really enjoyed it. It's a great idea. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was fun. It's fun to do.
Yeah, I bet it is. Now, you never had a hobby before? I mean, when you were a kid, did you make plastic models or?
Stand by. I mean, I got it right here. I was talking about it yesterday. I have a model. I used to make models and stuff like that. I actually used to be really creative, sort of like work with Sculpey and stuff right up until about I was 12 and went away to school. And then hobbies kind of faded. I mean, readings, I was a voracious reader. I don't know if you can call that a hobby.
I don't know.
Then the next one I had was improv comedy, and then that became my career. So
yeah, like I don't know if you can call golf a hobby, right? It's a sport, but it's still a sort of a hobby for some people. And I collect 16 millimeter film. I've got 2,000.
That's a hobby. That's a hobby.
It's a crazy. It's a heavy hobby, Mark. When you've just moved, it's
totally
a stupid hobby.
Well, I'll ask you the question I asked. We have an episode actually on collectors.
Cool.
And I asked both of them that we talked to or spent time with, so if your collection burned down, would you start it again? And both of them were like, no, because they had become prisoners of their own passionate pursuit.
Correct. Yeah. No, it's too much. I love it though. I mean, I've got some cool old episodes of TV shows with original commercials and things. And
I love those things. You put them online.
Yeah, I have done that. Yeah, no, so it's fun. But so you really entering into this project did not have a hobby. And I watched the first episode. You're with a birding guy, a birder.
Paul Reese,
yeah, which was fascinating. And you seem to genuinely embrace that and learn a lot, right?
Yeah, no, it was. The fun thing about the show is that on most of these hobbies, there's a moment where I've sort of gone click. Oh, I get it, and I could pursue. The birding thing is particularly sticky because I think once you start looking at birds and seeing them, and there's and it's fairly easy to. You don't have to become expert and go and buy dusty books or anything. There's an app called Merlin where you just hold it out the window. Oh, that's the bird that's been waking me up every morning, and And then you just kind of do it. Yeah.
I was going to ask if you're aware of that. My son Dan and his girlfriend Rosie, we were up north. There's a bird sanctuary up the Bruce Peninsula, and I'm walking with them, and she pulls out this app and identifies just from the chirp, and I was amazed. It's pretty cool.
It's really cool, and it can do several birds at once, so you can wade into migration season and capture them all.
Yeah. Have you continued?
It's an incredibly good algorithm. You just want to warn your readers to be sure to get the one by Cornell University.
Okay, good tip. Have you continued to list birds that you see?
I went back to Venice. Though the only problem is in Venice, the seabirds, the ones I want to identify, they're all along the shoreline. They don't screech a lot. You know what I mean? Right. So you have to get a visual on them. Yeah.
It looked like you on this day and a half you were chronicling on the show. You'd already seen about 30 birds, right?
Yeah. Well, we went to what is the name of the place? We went to the we went to Birds Canada, but that's actually we saw a lot of them at this nature preserve out past Hamilton.
Yeah.
So we got a lot done in a day. Yes.
It seemed that way. And when you were at Birds Canada, you held a bird in your hand. That must have been pretty special, right?
It really was. Well, because they're so beautiful and little, and their little hearts going, and they're warm, and and I don't know if you watched the episode, so you saw the actual officer of the Birds Canada there sort of doing this, where they can tell if pregnant, about to drop an egg, male, female. Yeah, it was kind of special. Yeah. Yeah,
and you basically exposed a bird's genitalia, I think.
Yes.
Right.
I know. There should have been a trigger warning.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for that. I was nearly did a spit take.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. Then you guys went to the Bird and Beer Club of Hamilton, right?
Well, Birds and Beers is sort of a rotating group, but they were all local, and they're all birders, and they all sort of report to each other. The fun part of being the birding community is that they kind of alert each other. So if everyone's trying to get a rare bird and someone's off, in the woods and hears it, like, you got people quitting work and turning over desks, I imagine, to get it on their life list. Yeah,
well, sure. It's like me finding an I Love Lucy print with the original ads in it. You
that would be awesome.
Hurry up and get on eBay, right? Well, that was fun to watch. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Mark McKinney. Super Channel's October schedule features 9 programming premieres. Among them is the new horror anthology series, Tales from the Void. It's premiering October 16th on Super Channel Fuse. This episodic horror anthology series is both thought-provoking and terrifying. It kind of began online where people started posting haunting stories that went viral. Some dealt with creepy dolls, others unexplained invasions. There were unsolved mysteries and serial murders, and each story paid homage to classic cult films from the 80s and 90s. These stories were gathered in what became known as the No Sleep podcast, where they are narrated audiobook style. Now they come to you in all their blood-curdling glory on Super Channel Fuse in Tales from the Void. 2 new episodes will premiere each week, with episodes also available same day on demand. And demand it you must! See it on Super Channel, finding new ways to keep you up at night this Halloween season. October is filled with thrills and chills on Paramount Plus Canada. Besides new seasons of the espionage thriller Lioness, Trek fans can report for duty when the final season of Star Trek Lower Decks gets underway. And with All Hallows Eve fast approaching, the heart-pounding Peak Screaming Collection is back with a monster-sized lineup of new originals, fan-favorite horror movies, and unforgettable Halloween episodes. This year's fresh batch of frights includes the feature A Quiet Place Day 1, as well as the new Paramount Plus original Apartment 7A, a mysterious prequel to Rosemary's Baby. Boys and ghouls won't have to look hard for a scare with 10 expertly curated carousels, including killer classics, big screens, big screams, and spooky series. There are even some spooky shenanigans going on at Bikini Bottom in the new SpongeBob SquarePants Halloween special, Keep Away Camp. It's all happening this month on Paramount Plus Canada. Here he is again, Mark McKinney. You almost got a tattoo. I don't want to spoil it for folks, but if you watch the first episode, you guys visit a tattoo parlor. That seemed like quite a commitment, Mark. Were you?
I don't know. I can get a tattoo now. My kids have graduated college. It's I can go antisocial. But no, the first little was like that was plenty, and that's the reason why I'm a physical coward. I don't get tattoos.
Oh, I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
And the other guy gets a chicken lady tattoo. My God,
his elbow. Yeah.
That's quite, I mean, you must have been very honored. I mean, it's quite impressive, right?
Yeah, I mean, he really went for it. He was a very sweet soul and with a very sort of creative, open attitude. We all loved him, Paul Rice and Reese. Sorry.
Yeah, it seemed that way.
It was thrilling, and then it was just this bizarre moment where I just decided. I mean, he was clearly like, because it's on his bone,
right?
It's like that.
Yeah, that's pretty...
not the easy. That's not the fleshy parts tattoo.
Oh,
that's the
ouch!
hard parts tattoo. Yeah, so why not? Cool. So I did Chicken Lady for him as he lay there.
Chicken Lady, of course, one of your characters from Kids in the Hall. And I mean, I'm sure you talked about this before. Probably was that a bit inspired by the Todd Browning film, Freaks? Was that
probably? Well, certainly the space was laid by seeing that, because I saw that movie when I was like 13. I used to volunteer at the American Film Institute in Washington.
Wow! And
so I would get free passes to the movies there, and that was one of the first ones I saw. A double bill with Greta Garbo and Queen Christina. Whatever. Sorry, I'm turning into a. No,
listen, I'm fascinated.
Yeah.
You bring up the American Film. You bring up the American Film Institute. I'm all ears. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So you got to see a lot of classic films.
I got to see a lot of classic films. It's kind of a dream job for like a teenager with like time on their hands of carrying around those big metal cartons of film and helping out. Yeah.
Well, I mean, growing up in Toronto, in the ages before VHS and cable and HBO and everything, I remember taking the subway downtown to see old cartoons. Reg Hart used to project.
Reg Hart right around the corner from me on Bathurst.
All right. I would go to the Palmerston Library, go down in the basement, that theater, and see incredible things that no one had access to back then. So being connected to something like the Film Institute is a real eye-opener, because you didn't have anywhere else to see that stuff, right?
Well, or you had to wait for it to come on the Late Late Show, because a lot of these were like old movies. Yeah.
Amazing. Now, tell us, you have other episodes of the series. There's some familiar folks who will be joining you on some of this. Mm-hmm. Margaret Cho, I believe, right, is one of them.
Margaret Cho taught myself and Deborah DiGiovanni how to make focaccia.
Oh, cool.
Okay. She was a really good, simple instructor. She made it very easy, and it was very fun.
Okay. What's the secret to doing that right?
I think it's all in the mixing. Like, you have to have an aptitude. It's funny because we had 3 bowls of prepared focaccia dough, and Margaret Cho dives in with her hands. I put my hands in it and it's warm and it's like something happened to me. Something happened to me, Bill.
Okay, all right.
I really liked it. And Deborah DiGiovanni was the exact opposite. She was like, "Nope, I'm out." So
Wow. Well, and then one of your castmates from Superstore, right? Ben Feldman. He's on another
Ben
episode.
Feldman. He's such a bright, funny, curious guy. There's a reason why we wanted him along. And by the end of the episode, the crew was kind of like, "Can he host?" He's that good and charming and.
I don't know.
Break. Yeah.
I don't know if you want to hear that from your crew. That's what's going on.
At least they're honest.
Who else might we see in future episodes? James Chatto, I see, is one name.
Oh, well, Billy Needs Davis taught me how to sing.
Wow.
Or Maria Vakrakis, the Stratford staple, who's also in, Mamma Mia and My Big Fat Greek Wedding. She's an old friend, and she came out to do ballroom dancing with me.
Oh, my God.
And,
wow.
Yeah, and a choreographer named Hollywood Jade came out, and...
Are you going to...
Yeah, it was an interesting... Am I forgetting anyone, Adam? Sorry, Adam is here on the line. I just want to make sure I don't leave anyone off our list of...
Trish Leeper from...
Trish Leeper, oh my God, yes, my neighbor, Fraggle Rock puppeteer, saved our butt because we somehow got involved in the Puppets Up Festival in Ottawa. Did you know this, by the way? Like all my life, I lived part of my life in Ottawa anyway.
Yeah.
And the world's biggest puppet festival in Aylmer.
I never knew that. No.
Yeah.
Did not know that. I know like Dan Redigan was I think a puppeteer for Fraggle Rock.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, right.
To Kill and all those great shows. Yeah.
We went to separate schools together. We went to the same high school for a while and stuff. So Dan was a local legend there. No, it's a great idea. And were you at all inspired by a listener of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend? I mean, the title seems to echo that a bit, right?
I love, for something like this, a title that says exactly what you're doing is really smart. And I credit, Conan and other shows. I'm trying to think of other ones that have that just kind of like, this is what the show is like, And You Think You Can Dance is a good title for a show. So
it is.
The pleasure is going to be.
Yeah.
No, you can't, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, there you go. Did you find it difficult, sort of just, you're so famous for doing characters on sketches and Saturday Night Live and everything else. Just being yourself on camera, was that a bit of something unusual for you?
Completely. Yeah, I wasn't sure that I went in blind, not knowing if it would actually work. But I had a couple of things going for me because Rob Sheridan, who's one of the producers, came up with this idea with Kim Bondi over at Sphere. And I managed to persuade my brother to come and be the director. We never really...
wow, that's great.
We've sort of worked on little bits together. He produced the Kids in the Hall doc that came out before our recent reboot. But he was a fantastic... Anyway, I felt held. I can use that word, held, supportive, and the rest was just, I'm curious about people. That's my one asset coming into this. I'm sort of into it. I'm into trying stuff. I come from improv background, and I don't mind being a jackass. So, I think those are all assets.
That's key. We'll be back with Mark right after these messages. Time once again to check in with Emily Gagne to find out what's new on Hollywood Suite. What do you got for us, Emily?
Well, happy Shocktober, Bill. It's my favorite time of the year where we bring all the scary movies to the forefront.
Some scary movies. Okay, well, let's start her off. What do you got?
So if we actually want to get scary, there's the 4K restoration of The Haunting of Julia, which is a really scary movie from the 70s. It stars Mia Farrow, and it is a Canadian co-pro, and I just won't say any more because it's so shocking. You just have to see it for yourself.
Is this like The Haunting of Julia Child where the cake goes flat?
You'll just have to see. There is some intense stuff in the kitchen, I will say.
All right. Okay. What is there something that's maybe more family friendly?
Yes, Zombie Town. It's based on R.L. Stein's story. If you know R.L. Stein, he did Goosebumps and all that. But it's got Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase in it, and it's for family. So it's just like the perfect Halloween treat for you and your kids.
That's perfect. You got something for everybody this month on Hollywood Suite. It'll give you goosebumps. Thanks very much, Emily.
Thanks, Bill.
Hi, movie lovers. Bill Brio here with news of another TV on Film party screening coming to the Westdale Theatre in Hamilton. The end of October means Halloween, right? The Westdale has programmed the original Ghostbusters as a Saturday afternoon feature. See it in a big theater. Come before the feature, however, and starting at 1 p.m. on October 26, I'll be showing some classic cartoons on 16mm right on the Westdale's big screen. Among them is The Skeleton Dance, a genuinely creepy gem from 1929. I'll also be showing some horror movie trailers, including one from Psycho and another from Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. As a bonus, come and see a film I made way back in high school. Want to see a film where King Kong climbs up the CN Tower? Come and see Second Banana. Catch the shorts, answer trivia questions, win prizes. Then stick around and watch Ghostbusters, all for the same price. That's Saturday, October 26, 1 p.m. at Hamilton's historic Westdale Theatre. Go to thewestdale.ca for tickets and information. And we're back. I don't know if you've seen Eugene Levy's show where he's traveling the world, The Reluctant Traveler.
It's on one of those. Where is it? Where is it on?
It's on Apple TV Plus, I believe.
Apple, yeah. See,
and I'm
already draining my retirement savings with about 7 other streaming things.
I know. So. Yeah, I know. It's impossible.
A couple of sports packages. So
But when I watch him on that, like it reminds me of your show a bit in that. Two very people who are smart and funny, and if you're being yourself for a change, but people still expect you to be smart and funny, so that's part of who you are. So if you're being yourself, I'm sure you're still probably looking for the funny when you're walking along looking for birds or anything else. You're probably looking for opportunities to make it to find a joke here and there, right?
Well, you make a good point. We are aware and looking for opportunities, but we're not manufacturing them so much. It's kind of, I wanted to make sure it was just, yes, I'll be a goof. I mean, and the one great thing about doing a hobby show is that you're meeting people who are usually quite excited to share their hobby with you. So there's a convivial kind of community friendly thing happening anyway, which is when I sort of melt and become a bit of a clown anyway, like around the house, if it's a good, happy day, so but it's an accelerator. It's a comedy accelerator to have people in good moods around you.
But also, you're a risk taker if you're doing sketch or if you're doing comedy. So to sort of say, oh, yeah, let's get a tattoo is part of the process. It's part of who you are too, I guess, right?
Yeah, but clearly was not a well thought out plan.
That makes it even more fun to watch.
I really wanted to get a tattoo. I should have got a small little, just a line drawing of a bird, a couple of birds flapping like you do on a piece of paper. And
no, you had the decal from the Trans Am from the 80s.
Taken off the back of a battleship or something. It
looked like a hood of a car, yeah. That was funny. I want to ask just a couple of questions, if you don't mind, about Saturday Night Live, you being such an integral part of it. And this is an exciting season, the 50th, to be an alumni of this. There's no other show ever like it. What are your thoughts just on, and again, Lorne Michaels, you worked with Kids in the Hall, was your producer there. This guy is unique in television, and no one's done it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely unique. Yeah, we were so lucky. One of the biggest breaks the Kids in the Hall got wasn't just that we got on TV, but the Lorne Michaels who was the one producer, it's a very short list, back in whenever it was, 1989, 90, to have a producer who had worked with a young transgressive comedy troupe and got them to successfully steer clear of the shoals and put on some good shows. And that was a list of one back then.
Yeah.
What is
it? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mark. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I just tell me, what is it about him that makes him this enduring? I mean, that you don't get to do this for 50 years on television. Is he just has another finer sense of casting or sense of humor, or what is it about?
He's got a great sense of people and their potential, and also knows when he has the artful gift of knowing when to put his hands on, which he does sort of rarely, really, at least on the Crave, and then when to take them off and to let people do their own thing. I mean, so many people have come through that show, and whether they've had it's been successful for them, they've blown up into stars, or whether they've sort of like left after a few seasons, he's on good terms with all of them. Mm-hmm. And he knows what he's dealing with comedians, which is like, comedians sometimes are a little bit broken toys, and you have to let that energy play out without letting it dominate. And he's preternaturally patient and has his own kind of wisdom about all of this. And for his own mental health, I imagine, keeps occasionally somewhat of a distance without making you feel that, he's uncaring. It's a real unique bundle of skills that he has. I haven't seen it. I've seen other good producers, but I haven't seen anything quite like that package. Yeah.
I guess. Has he ever commented on your impersonation of him?
Once, right after, because I think he found out that I was doing him in Brain Candy. Bernie Brillstein had to tell him after screening.
That's not good.
It's like sort of a famous story among the SNL alumni that, like, that Lauren was like, is Mark? Is he doing me? And Bernie went, of course he's doing you.
That's funny.
Because I think back then no one was really doing them. So, yeah.
I want to also tell you, I loved the most recent incarnation of Kids in the Hall. I thought that watching you guys more middle-aged in the hall was very poignant as well as funny. And I thought that was a great season. So congratulations on it.
Thank you. Yes, no, it turned out I was thrilled, and the biggest compliment was like you guys have not changed. You haven't missed a step. It was still the same energy, flow, and weirdness, and dubious pleasures across the pieces. Yeah, it was fun to do. I just wish I'd seen our crew, because they were all behind masks the entire time.
Oh, of course, during COVID. Yeah, it would be different. Do any of your friends and kids have hobbies that would be something you'd want to explore with them?
The only one I thought about, and vaguely, I might, if we're lucky enough to do this again, is I know Scott collects first edition books, which weirdly makes sense.
Yeah.
And Dave, I don't know, he's got a UFO obsession.
Right. Yeah.
But is that a hobby? He does podcasts about it now. I guess it'd be I think it's a passion. I mean, he's really advocating for the recognition that that extraterrestrials have visited or are visiting the planet. So that's one thing. Kevin is an enthusiastic amateur musician. He writes songs, composes, plays guitar, seeks out, his favorite musicians all the time, goes to concerts relentlessly. I mean, his passion is music. But I think he's still in the amateur thing, so he could be someone. And Bruce, I have no idea. I think Bruce's hobby is work. Really hard.
Yeah.
I don't know how you capture that.
Well, it would be fun to see you and Foley searching for UFOs. I don't know. I mean, if you went to Area 51 or something.
Oh, that'd be awesome out on the thing. But yes, but it's actually, we got into a lot of debates. Like, when is it hobbying and when is it exercise? Or, like the thing is like, do you like to cook? Yes, I like to cook. But you're a mother of 4 and you cook every night for 7 nights a week for your whole time. It's like, is that a hobby?
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great show, and if you're stuck for an idea for 16 millimeter film collector, please
listen. Hey, you're on the list.
Oh,
I think
awesome.
that down right now because I'm always collecting. No, I love that stuff. I search this stuff out on the YouTubes a lot.
Yeah.
And there's one particular channel that just runs failed pilots from 19. Have you found that one?
No, but I've heard about it, and it's a great idea. I'd watch that in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of the show. Sometimes they don't even have a clip, but they just list all the shows, how many episodes it ran, when it ran from to, and sometimes they have an ABC promo for some like Stoogie and the Elf, and you've never heard of. It's hilarious. You know,
they come up on eBay now and then, and they're among the most prized because you're right. Yeah. There's only one copy left in the world. It's the only one that didn't get thrown out, and it's a show that no one has seen yet. And you probably only want to see a clip of it because
and it stars like Charlton Heston and Ben Vereen or something. You know,
right? Big names.
And a young Andrea McCardle.
Like I think Eugene Levy made a failed pilot. You know, like there's everyone's got one kind of thing. So definitely that'd be a fun idea. Well, listen, Mark, thank you for taking the time today. Will Hudero be making any future appearances on Son of a Critch? That's my last.
Daryl? Oh wait. You mean
the Mentalist? Hudero.
Mentalist. I would hope he would come back, but I was certainly shuffled off in disgrace last time I did on the show. So, yeah,
it's a funny show, and that was a great episode. So,
oh my God, he's killing it, Mark Critch. Yeah,
it is pretty cool. Mark, thank you very much, and best of luck with the show. It's on now on CTV. And it's Mark McKinney Needs a Hobby. So you don't have to ask any more questions about what it's about. It's a great idea. Congratulations.
Yeah, can't stay up past 9 on Wednesday. It's the next day. It's on Crave.
Yeah, that's right. Well, everything's on demand now, some way or another, right? So
find it, you lazy bastards. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Mark. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Thanks for your interest, Bill. Appreciate it.
Always. Take care, Mark.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks again to my guest, Mark McKinney, a fine fellow as well as a fine actor and comedian and writer. May he find a hobby he can really get passionate about. And thanks to my producer, Phil Hong, whose hobbies include traveling the world and turning audio recordings into podcast gold. Give it up as well to BJ Del Conte, Paul Boudra, and all the Crispy Critters, as well as piano man Stephen Dudley, for the music you hear on this podcast. And finally, thanks to you, listener. If you enjoyed this conversation, let us know with a like or a comment at Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Bill Brio. Thanks for listening.